大怪盗アルセーヌ・ルパンが残した不思議な宝物ルパンコレクションがギャングラーに奪われた。失ったものを取り戻すために戦う怪盗、世界の平和を守るために戦う警察、君はどっちを応援する？
Hello and welcome to LupinRecap vs. PatReview, the podcast that's stirring up a storm. I'm your host, Lokomasi. With me is my lovely co-host, Fefner Masamune.
It's yet another week where Kaito-senpai will not notice me.
And today, we are talking about episode 40 of Lupin Ranger vs. Pat Ranger. But before that, it's time for the penultimate ranking. Yeah, we're going to skip ranking on episode 45 because I don't think that we're going to change that much.
Probably not.
Doing it every 5 episodes made sense at first, but as the status quo has emerged, it makes less sense now.
To be fair, we did get through most of the show without skipping these.
Oh yeah. But I feel like we could have switched from every 5 to every 10 around episode 30, and things wouldn't have changed too much, but no use dwelling on the past. We're going to have one more ranking this episode, and another ranking for episode 51, and which means I gotta come up with 10 more questions. Great!
Good luck.
Okay, so, for my rankings, starting at the bottom, shock of shocks, I decided to actually put Toma here.
Oh, wow.
I feel like he has not done anything in a while, a really long time. Meanwhile, number 6, Sakya, because let's not go crazy, he's not getting that much higher than that. It's not enough, but they actually did address my main problem with him. And he is part of a single event that affected a lot of characters, so I'm going to put off talking about it for now. But Toma wasn't really keeping my interest as much. Well, Sakya made a slight improvement, so I figured I would take this opportunity to put Sakya number 6 one last time. Because he's not.
So we can let him down for once next time we do one of these.
Yep. Because he's not going to be he's going to be number 7 next time. Number 5, I have Umika. Similar to Toma, I feel like she's been kind of out of focus lately. She did do something last episode. She is involved, but it's been a long time since we've had an episode about her. I don't want to say she was overdeveloped at first, but they got her character development done really, really quickly. And she's not been as important as she was in the first 20 or so episodes. Remember we were getting an Umika episode every 5 or 6 episodes?
Those were the days.
And number 4, I put Tsukasa. I bumped 2 cops above 2 Phantom Thieves, vaguely. Sakya didn't go up above Umika, because let's not get crazy. But Tsukasa is above Umika because, again, of what happened in episode 38, so I'll put off talking about that again. So let's talk at my number 3 spot, Kairi. I put him at the bottom of the top 3, because we know who my top 3 are.
Yep.
From here until the end of the show. I feel like while his deterioration stuff is done well, I just like what they did with Noelle and Keiichiro more, because we're getting, I don't know if it's payoff, but we're getting Keiichiro and Noelle becoming better, whereas Kairi's becoming worse. And that's going to have a better payoff eventually, probably, but it's not as fun for me to watch. I only like watching a character get beat down because I'm waiting for them to be built back up. Mm-hmm. And number 2 is Noelle, number 1 is Keiichiro, and my notes for that just say episode 38. The scene where the Pot Rangers come to Noelle's rescue is one of my favorite scenes in the whole show.
Yep.
I'm really disappointed that Over Time let me down the way that they did.
You did us dirty.
I've been watching Kamen Rider X8, which Over Time skipped doing subs for scheduling reasons. They wanted to do some old stuff before they did Kamen Rider X8, so I had to switch back to TV Nihon.
Yep.
And I do miss Overtime. I like TV Nihon, but a lot of the stuff they just flat out don't translate. Neither of them do what I think would be the best option, which is the translator's note of here is why this is hard to translate and here's what we did. Because I will accept anything as long as you tell me why you did it. But yeah, translation problems aside, it was just really good to see the police characters do their jobs, be proud of doing their jobs, and know loose cannon cop that doesn't play by the rules. They play by the rules, and they love that they play by the rules.
Yep.
It's about goddamn time.
Alright, so with that,
Now you're
my
right.
list. Number 7, Sakya. He hasn't moved. He hasn't had his own episode, and while that moment was good, it's mostly just eh.
I sort of just put Saki in 6th because I could. I very easily could have put him in 7th as well. I was going to say it was close. It's not like Sakia was at a solid 6th. He's at a very shaky 6th.
The shaky 6. Terrible bar. But anyway, more unfortunate is number 6, Tsukasa. She has had good moments, and I did really like her just punching a Ganglar in the face. Just tricking him, but yeah, other than that, she's been kind of so-so. She definitely hasn't had any personal development in a while. Number 5 is Tuma. I've liked his sort of, I guess, moments of helplessness. Like, emotionally, it's become very, very obvious that, like, he has a hard time connecting to people, and now that's starting to present itself as a problem a bit more, especially when it comes to Kairi. I guess this development sort of does more for some of the other characters, but yeah, just like that moment where he was on the phone call with Kairi and he knew what was wrong but just couldn't actually bring it up, I think is a pretty good way of showing sort of his weaknesses in the team. Like, despite being the oldest character of them, still not exactly emotionally mature. He has difficulties. But yeah, even if it hasn't been personal development for him, I've just kind of liked that plot line. Number 4 is Umika. As usual, I like her willingness to work outside of just the Lupin Rangers, and, whereas Tuma has been displaying some weakness by not being able to communicate with Kairi, we also have a similar moment where, like, Umika is a foil for Tuma because Tuma doesn't want to go to help for Noelle, but Umika does. And I just think that shows her pretty well, or I think that shows her character pretty well, and it is weird that she is probably the most mature member of the Lupin Rangers, just given her usual presentation of, like, the kids, and, you have the earlier episodes where Kairi is always kind of mocking her for that and ruffling her hair. She's got it the most together because she doesn't care about being super secretive like everyone else does, and while a little hesitant to reach to other people, because of course she did have to see Sakya for a bit of help, she still does do that. And of course...
she's stealth mature.
Yeah, and of course, doing better than Kairi is at the moment.
Right. It feels weird to hold that against him, though, because he's very clearly suffering with it.
Oh yeah, of course. But yeah, anyway, our top 3 are the same. Kairi's number 3. I like where his plotline's going. Number 2, Noelle. Noelle's been, more towards the top recently. The first time he was surprisingly low despite his backflips, but just the moments he's had of connection between the Lupin Rangers and the Pat Rangers has been really solid overall. That's only continued since the previous time we've done this. But of course, number 1, Kaiichiro. Maybe some people think he's a little overly intrusive when it comes to Kairi, but, like, I don't know. I like seeing his genuine desire to help, and also, Dad Kaiichiro really helps.
At least he's trying.
Yeah.
Toma's technically trying, but he's trying in a way that doesn't count.
He has acknowledged the problems, but he doesn't know how to help. Kaiichiro doesn't really know how to help either, but, like, he doesn't hesitate because he doesn't know how to help like Tuma. He just does not know quite how to communicate with Kairi, mostly because Kairi won't, tell him anything. Just that sort of accidental, he is much like Kairi's brother, is just neat.
Yeah, I have a feeling our top 3 are going to have the same characters in it for the last round, but I don't know if they'll be in the same position.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's where our rankings stand.
It is very clear who is getting the development at this point, which is fine,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This show is already really long. I get that you don't want to do a lot of episodes for everyone, but maybe throw Umika a few more bones. It would be nice.
Yeah, I don't feel like anyone is getting shafted.
Yeah, like
as far as characterization goes.
the supporting cast is very supportive, true to their name. Like they are really solidly in those positions. Saki and Tsukasa do well for Kaiichiro. Umika and Tuma maybe don't technically do great for Kairi, but like that's the point. They are good for him from a storytelling standpoint. Realistically, they should just send him to therapy, and then also go there themselves, because they're also traumatized.
Right. And, like, the way I think about it is, would I like more Umika Tsukasa episodes? Of course. But I'd also like more Kairi episodes and more Keiichiro episodes. I just want more episodes.
Yeah, this is a good show.
I want the goofy sitcom episode plots that they didn't do. This has become easier as we've gone on.
A little bit
compared to the first episode where you start the episode by yelling at me for making you do this. Our favorites have emerged.
I'm desensitized now. I can pit my children against each other. What have I become? But anyway.
Also, we would never do this. We're not doing another podcast after this, I don't think. But if we did a Q Ranger podcast, Jesus Christ. This part would be even longer.
Alright, time to rank 12 characters.
Oh my god. But yeah, anyways.
So, the most relatable title, Episode 40, Can't Stop Worrying, Juror, a moderate hive of cool villainy. This evening, Kogure is visiting to place yet another collection piece in his book. But Kairi is absent tonight, which Kogure notices. He remarks that he hopes Kairi hasn't grown tired of gathering the collection, which worries Umika and Tuma, given they have been considering defeating Zamigo and bypassing the whole collection thing. But Umika and Tuma lie and say that Kairi is still super jazzed about stealing that collection. Once Kogure has given the pair an au revoir, Tuma supposes that they must have let their guard down. They did nearly spoil the whole thing right there. They probably should be better prepared for basic questions from Kogure.
He's not evil anymore, but he is still nosy.
He's still nosy, and, now it's even more awkward now that he has opened up a little more, because now the Lupin Rangers want out.
It's like, so are you guys gonna open up too? Whoa.
Let's maybe not. This has been fun, but we've got other things to do.
It's been real and it's been fun, but it ain't been real fun, Kogure.
Sorry, Kogure, we're just gonna murder you in the middle of your loyalty mission. Whoops, sorry. But with that done, Umika realizes that Kairi has been skipping work more than usual as of late, which means he probably hasn't been around at all today.
Yeah, like, Kairi just quit a week ago and not tell anyone?
Usually he's only there for like an hour a day. Maybe an hour and a half if there's something there that interests him. Cut to a path over the waterfront where Kairi is walking alone. Well, not entirely alone. The intro is also here. The intro will always be there for you. It's your friend. The next day, Kairi sneaks out of an empty jour, or so he thinks. Umika and Tuma poke their heads out from behind the counter and begin following their partner. As they follow him around town, they try to figure out what's going on with him, since he's slacking more than usual, an impressive feat. Umika starts to wonder if he's secretly dancing around in a leotard, which Tuma fires down immediately, and quite personally. Eventually, the two lose track of Kairi around the waterfront we saw the previous day. However, their search is interrupted by screaming, which can only mean one thing. It's a Ganglar attack. We see today's Ganglar chasing a group of panicked people, only to be confronted by Blue and Yellow. Captain Ganghab recognizes the two of them because he's studied the Lupin Rangers extensively. He introduces himself as Jugon Manatee and bows. The Lupin Rangers are surprised at his manners, but aren't deterred. Unfortunately, neither is Ganghab. He activates his safe power and produces a fog that surrounds the immediate area. Unable to see, the two thieves are pushed into the nearby building. And once inside, Ganghab emerges across a table behind them and hits them both with lasers which don't seem to do anything. But with that, he makes his escape before the fog dissipates. The Lupin Rangers are left wondering where he is, and whether or not Blue remembered to turn the gas off before they left, and if Yellow remembered to lock the doors. With those odd worries, both Blue and Yellow agree to return to Jour for the time being. That night, at Police HQ, Jim shows the group a very well-drawn likeness of Ganghab. Sakia thinks he's a dugong, while Tsukasa thinks he's a manatee. Noelle asks if it makes a difference, and Tsukasa assures him that manatees have cuter faces. She is an expert after all. After a short lesson on the difference between a dugong and a manatee from Jim, we cut to Jour, where Umika and Tuma have the exact same concern. It seems to be eating at them far more, though.
This is such a dumb joke, but I love it.
Is it a buffalo or a bison?
It's not as good as that joke, partially because George Takei isn't delivering it. And no one dies as a result of not knowing the difference.
I don't know, that could have happened off screen. He could have just killed somebody who was running away. He's like, wait, are you a manatee or a dugong? The name's not help. Ah!
I was gonna say, like, Saki is suspiciously absent for the rest of the show. They had to cut the scene where Tsukasa brutally murders him.
Never compare a manatee to a dugong, how dare you? But Noella's there, and quite confused. He came to tip them off on the Ganglar, and Umika mentions that they encountered him while they were looking for Kairi. Tuma suddenly realizes that Ganghab must have affected Kairi somehow, and Umika agrees. As Noelle comes up with an idea to help our scatterbrained heroes help their friend, we cut to hell. Ganghab is diligently studying both the Lupin Rangers and the Pat Rangers, as well as their abilities, including Lupin Tricolor, which means the movie has definitely happened by now, so we should start questioning where Jackpot is. Degranio comes in and calls Ganghab a bookworm, to which Ganghab says that knowing his enemy is the surest path to victory. While Gauche is teasing as usual, Degranio mentions that intelligence can be power too, so there shall be no shoving Ganghab in a locker today.
No locker except Davy Jones's locker.
No, that happens later.
Oh, right, yeah.
Degranio's not going to kill anyone for being a nerd. He respects nerds.
Oh, even worse.
He respects pretty much everyone except, like, the penguin guys. I think
Except
all
Penguino.
of those guys. Both those designs, didn't care for either of them. But Penguino, so much less. Guy's just the worst. As
I really do want just a really quick scene of like, alright, and here's your collection piece, here's your collection piece. Walks up to Penguino, just like smacks him. Walks the next time, here's your collection piece.
You remember what you did, Penguino. Just near the end of the series. Did Penguino ever die? Yes, sir. Good. As Ganghab continues studying the Pat Kaiser, Gauche takes a moment to think about Destra's absence, and how things must be serious if he's still MIA. Back at Jour, Umika and Tuma are conspicuously doing things around the restaurant, not looking at Kairi at all. Kairi sneaks out, somehow not aware he's being watched. As he leaves, Noelle walks out from behind a wall in his main character from Persona 5 cosplay, which manages to be one of the least ridiculous things he's worn. The three follow Kairi until he stops to speak with a woman about something white, little, and super cute. But Umika doesn't pick up on any of that. Instead, she imagines that Kairi has fallen in love with a woman. The two begin dating, elope, and end up having kids. But the woman becomes bitter, and they divorce, and Kairi ends up alone. But of course none of that actually happened. Umika's just worried about an imagined series of events. Later, the group is spying on Kairi at a restaurant. As Tuma looks at him, he imagines Kairi finds the Hamburg steak so delicious that he can't stop eating it, which leads him to eating every single dish on the menu. So, getting bloated on food seems like a pretty bad fate if you weren't looking for a stomachache that day. But it gets even worse when a woodpecker flies in through the front door and missile-like zeroes in on Kairi's gut, blowing Kairi to smithereens after making contact.
Killing him instantly. We need to talk about this scene.
It's so good.
So, some of our listeners maybe follow Toku GIFs, and this is the Lupot GIF with the most, retweets and likes.
With good reason.
Yes, and what I especially love is that when the fire effect goes across Kairi's face, you can see his mouth for a bit, and he's very clearly smiling. I don't know if it's just, a weird thing, but I like to imagine that he just couldn't get through the scene without cracking up.
It seems like it would be difficult. But that, too, is not something that actually happened. Once the gang has recovered from that scenario, they continue following Kairi until he arrives at a bookstore. Umika and Tuma both imagine the possibility of Kairi running into that one woman from earlier. Except it's not her, it's a double of her who's a sniper from a crime syndicate. He narrowly manages to escape her, only to find himself in the previous restaurant, where he orders one of everything out of desperation, and is once again killed by a woodpecker.
I love they do that scene twice. Because with the woman, they do a different take on it. And they do a different ridiculous thing. But for the woodpecker, I like to imagine, alright, what's more ridiculous than this?
Nothing. Literally nothing.
Yeah, just 10 minutes of silence, you're right, we just gotta do the same scene again.
The writer struck gold right from the get-go. And of course, I just love the fact that it is slightly faster, so... It's the same joke almost after the previous one, but, it's still hilarious, and also they move through it quickly enough that it actually gets a little bit funnier.
I also just really but what if she's a sniper? Well, she's 2 inches away from him. That's not how snipers work.
Kairi, you fool! You should have just stayed there and attacked her. She's not trained for hand-to-hand combat.
You're about to get no-scoped in real life.
Noel finally decides to ask his two compatriots if they're okay, but we don't hear a response from them for now. Probably because they're not okay. Later, Kairi is continuing his walk, and the rest of the group continue their worried pursuit. But they once again lose Kairi around the waterfront, but this time they encounter Good Striker. Umika and Tuma whip out their guns, assuming Goody is the woodpecker who killed Kairi. Good Striker, like pretty much every other person, is confused. Luckily, Noella's here to just ask Goody what's going on.
Hi, I'm the most normal person in this situation, and that's a problem.
Yes. All this non-normal stuff is really causing me concern. I better backflip. Wacha! That's my concern backflip. I did it while stroking my chin, in contemplation.
But Noelle, how do I know that you're still normal? Huh! Oh, yep, that's Noelle.
Of course, the problem is that Captain Ganghab is back. He uses some blade beams to take down an entire building, but the Phantom Thieves grapple in to stop him. From further havoc, I mean. That specific building is done for.
It's a good thing it was a Sunday.
So everybody's in that building because they're home?
No, that was clearly an office building. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, that's fine.
It's a dumb line from the original Dragon Ball dub. After Nappa blows up the entirety of East City, Vegeta says it's a good thing it's a Sunday so there's no one here. Also, I know what a Sunday is.
Hi, I just got to Earth, but I know you take Sundays off. Anyway, my partner Nappa here has killed you all. Boy, it's a good thing that people get Sundays off, because in the future I'll be working in an office and I'll need to train. Blue and Yellow tell Ganghab to undo the spell he cast on Red, but Red wanders in wondering what they're even on about. Tuma collapses to his knees, overjoyed that Red wasn't killed by a woodpecker. By this point, Noel points out that it wasn't Red who was affected by the Ganglar, but rather Blue and Yellow. Ganghab cuts in, telling them that he can amplify humans' worries to absurd levels. That's what the laser does. Blue and Yellow collapse in embarrassment, but Noel mentions the way Red has been acting must be why they're worried, and after some Kaichiro-related flashbacks, he also tells Red that his partners care about him a lot, even if they were affected by a Ganglar's ability. Red thanks his friends for their concern, and he Kaito changes alongside Noel. The two rush in and begin fighting, dodging Ganghab's lasers before X uses Siren Striker to put some pressure on him. Ganghab then tries to use his safe power, but Red counters by using Victory Striker. Said super form is not used to predict Ganghab's actions within the mist. Instead, the fans on his new armor just blow the fog away. Didn't think those were practical, did ya? But he does use the power of Epitaph to cut off Ganghab's getaway. Red dashes in and enters Ganghab's combination 1, 0, 5, and nabs La Fumée sur l'eau. A powerful kick sends Ganghab flying back, allowing Red and X to activate their finishers. Ganghab is hit by several bullets from the front, and then is just bombarded from the sky. His battleship is sunk, and only a pile of fire remains. Blue and Yellow feel the weight of worry leave them, but they can't catch a break yet. As always, Ghosh wanders in and brings Ganghab back to life. The X-Emperor and Lupin Magnum are formed and begin a battle with Ganghab Galleon. X tries his finisher a little too early, and Ganghab manages to dodge the slash strike before drop-kicking the Emperor into Magnum. Just then, Lupin Kaiser magic is formed, and the Lupins are mad. Magic activates a new special, Lupin Kaiser All-Stars. Ganghab is surrounded by 5 Lupin Kaisers. Umika tells him that one of the Kaisers is a bit different. Which one could it be? Well, you've got plenty of time to answer because the solution won't be revealed until after the commercial break. So, which one of them does it belong? Well, we already know that Ganghab does his homework, so he quickly spots that Siren Lupin Kaiser has the wrong right arm. So, tell him what he's won, Loka.
Death.
That's right, he dies. All the Lupin Kaisers converge into one Victory Striker, which takes its flight mode to chain him up before putting one final hole in Ganghab's hull with a dropkick. Ganghab explodes, upset about being killed after answering correctly. I do love how twice now the whole Lupin Kaiser magic thing has activated its special when the Ganglar gets a thing right. They succeed, and it just kills them. With the battle finished and the mechas disbanded, Kairi brings Umika and Tuma to the place he's been going to. Beneath a bridge near the waterfront, there's a little shack, and in that shack is a puppy, seemingly well taken care of by Temp Parrot Kairi. As the trio, dog in hand, make their way home, Tuma asks if Kairi had found an owner. Kairi tells him that the restaurant manager said they would take him, so no, we don't get a puppy sidekick Lupin Ranger. Just then, Noel and the cops approach, intending to celebrate the defeat of another Ganglar by going to Juror. Noel then notices the dog and just takes it out of Kairi's hands.
Just immediately going, oh!
Oh, that's cute, yoink. Kairi then looks to Kaichiro and asks to see his phone. Kaichiro hesitates only out of slight confusion because he's far more trusting of Kairi than anyone on this earth should be.
And then Kyrie chucks his phone into the dock.
while shouting eats. But Kyrie's not pulling a prank or anything. He fiddles with it for a moment before giving it back, and we can see that Breeder's Fight, the unfortunately named game Kyrie's been playing, has been installed. Joke's on Kaitro, this is a gotcha game. He's actually put Kaitro in a much worse spot than he was in before. Kyrie tells him that he'll waive the 1 million yen fee this time, and Kaitro thanks him. Kyrie then takes the dog back from a now disappointed Noelle and continues on his way. Of course, now there's a pack of people looking to pet a puppy following close behind, so this time, he's not walking alone. End of episode.
God, what a funny episode.
Yep, this is a real good comedy episode.
I feel like a lot of times comedy episodes get relegated as, like, bad episodes.
Yeah.
I feel like for shows like this, specifically Sentai, they're usually not.
Yeah, they usually do good, goofy jokes that actually translate fairly well.
I mean, what could be more universal than anxiety?
So, yeah, the Gangler of this episode, he's real good.
Chugong Manatee, one of the few Ganglars whose names I can remember, because it's just two animals.
Yep. And it does not help you figure out which one he is, but I'm pretty sure he's a manatee.
I think he's a dugong.
Oh no, well, looks like the podcast is over. It's been a fun run, but this is it, folks.
Tune in next week for Q Ranger versus...
Q Ranger versus me.
Yeah, where I try to do a recap review podcast where Pfeffer has not seen the episodes.
But yeah, I love his design and I love his personality.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good because he, of course, has one of the powers that's just there to set up the wacky plot of the episode. But nonetheless, he himself also carries it pretty well.
Right. It feels like you're not going to come up with 51 good Monster of the Week personalities, so you sort of have to ration them out.
Yeah, but, like, the second half of the show seems to have gotten most of the good ones.
Right. I feel like they wrote as many of them as they could, and then just held on to them. And then it's like, alright, we need 8 more Ganglars, we have 8 more episodes.
We saved all our best, here we go.
But, like, this was an episode where they could have skimped on the Ganglar, because it was going to be carried by what he did rather than what he is.
Yeah. But, you know, I think he is just as strong as personality as, you know, Umika and Tuma in this episode and what they do.
Mm-hmm. The problem with comedy episodes like this is that to talk about the joke kills them.
Yeah.
So there's not super much to say about this episode other than it's good, and you can either watch the episode or just watch that one GIF from Tokugifts. That's all you really need.
Yeah, it sums it up pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But
Just watch that on loop for 22 minutes. It'll have the same effect.
But of course it is also pretty important in terms of character development. It's mostly at the end, but still. It's a little bit of Kyrie learning to trust a bit more, which is super important.
It's the small but important. Like, this is Kyrie taking a couple of steps back from his problems.
Yep, he finally realizes that, hey, maybe Blue and Yellow do care about me, and maybe I should put in more effort to care about them, too. Mm-hmm. Like telling them I'm going to take care of a dog.
It is nice that, like, Kyrie saw a lost puppy and immediately started taking care of it.
Yep.
It's not really something you'd expect from him, actually.
No, but, you know, he made up for that by not telling anybody anything about it and then worrying them more.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta get your gimmick in somewhere.
Mm-hmm. I'm also glad that the puppy wasn't a big part of the episode, because I feel like that's a trap that you can really easily fall into. But I wish we just got, like, a bit more of the puppy.
Just a tiny bit more. Not much.
Mm.
But yeah, then of course...
I wanted to see Jim pet the puppy.
Jim just walks in for no particular reason. You know he's just here to pet the puppy. His puppy siren went off. But yeah, and then of course I love the fact that the whole game Kyra was playing on his phone thing wasn't just a joke for that episode. It's actually being used to show him bridging the gap between himself and Kaiichiro a little more. It's not much, but it is a gesture.
I'm just glad it came back after you were like unable to say that line in full during the episode.
Playing any fun games there, Kyrie?
God, that line is just like a shock to my core. It's so good.
It's another thing that transcends language because, while I can't get his exact intonation from the way he says it because I don't know Japanese, his body language was perfect.
But yeah, we're now talking about past episodes instead of this one, so I think that does it for this episode.
Yep, so next time is going to be a heck of an episode. It is going to be a Destra-heavy episode. There's a small chance he might even die. I don't think he will, but you never know.
You never know with this show.
I mean, he's got golems, sure, but they're not really that big a deal. Ghosh is the one who needs to survive a little longer to make people big. Also, God, now that I've mentioned Ghosh, I still want to know what is up with her binoculars. What is so dangerous about those?
There's only like 11 episodes left. There's got to be an answer soon, right?
It's got to come up, please. I'm dying.
They wouldn't just drop a plot point, right?
Oh no.
So that does it for this episode. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we are at LRVSPR, 5nerds@Masamune. If you want to email us, you can email us at LupinRecap via PatReview@gmail.com. We will see you in the next episode.
Adieu.